Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Today in Quarantine. I'm your host, Renee Cross, and you are watching the Wells YouTube channel streaming Today in Quarantine. Today is episode 20, which means tomorrow is the 21st episode, which means we've been in this for 3 weeks. And as I was listening to the radio just briefly yesterday, it looks like we could be on the upward part of this slope. I mean, we are on the upward part of this curve that we've been trying to flatten. Remember that image of a very tall curve, right? Which is the number of cases across a period of time, right? So we've got a tall curve. And we're trying to flatten it so that we spread out the number of cases over a longer period of time, which, as somebody reminded me on Facebook yesterday, is a good thing. We want to be flattening the curve, which means this will take longer, but hopefully we will lose less lives, because as we flatten the curve, we will be talking to people. We will not be talking to people. Hopefully we will be eventually. But as we flatten the curve, we'll have more cases or less cases over a longer amount of time, and hopefully that will just not overwhelm our systems as much. Right now, in some states, I believe our system is being overwhelmed. Our hospital system and healthcare system is being overwhelmed because they have not quite flattened the curve successfully, and that is unfortunate. However, we've each got to do our part to do that. So really think about what you're doing. Consider where you're going, who you're hanging out with. I've been keeping a mental log of where I've been the past 14 days, just in case somebody's like, "Oh, have to get tested." So consider doing that. Today in quarantine, as in addition to doing my work on just school and stuff like that, I've also been working on my garden. Yesterday, I got some more seeds and I planted them. So now, in addition to squash, cucumber, tomato, jalapeno pepper, and bell peppers, I have eggplant, onions, cilantro, and something else, which I'm forgetting. I'll remember it later. But I've now got 9 plants. I don't have a very big garden box, so we'll just kind of see what survives and see how that goes. Really, this is my first time gardening, so I'm probably doing a lot of things wrong. But one thing that I have done is built a planter box. Got some wood, and I've built a 4x4 planter box, which I'm super excited about. It's actually about a foot deep, and hammered some stuff together. And I've just been going and just working on quite a lot of stuff with that. Last night, I finished putting on the bottom of the planter box, and I put on some of the legs of the planter box, and primer and paint and Douglas fir wood and non-treated wood. I now have a whole new vocabulary. I also would like to be an advocate for screws. Screws, I'm assuming, do a much better job than the nails that I'm using now. So if you can, use screws. But my nails are doing all right. They just come right back out whenever they want to. So yeah, that's kind of what I've done today in quarantine. As a district, where secondary teachers are required to hold office hours every day, and that's one thing that I've been doing. Although the office hours are just kind of me opening up Zoom and allowing people to come into Zoom and ask me any questions. And I've done these for the past couple days, and nobody's popped into my office hours, so it just kind of been disappointing for me, but also kind of encouraging, which means that they don't have any questions, I guess. But I did have one student today, so I got to talk to her for a little bit, and I'm just trying to figure out ways to engage my students online together via Zoom somehow. I had a rehearsal with some of them online, but I would like to engage them somehow with them being able to hear each other. So if you have any suggestions, why don't you go ahead and leave them in the chat so I can see what's going on with that. So yeah, that was kind of my day in quarantine. It's just been a lot of figuring out things to do. I've been doing some reading, and just Bug's Life. Now, as a kid, I really, really, really liked A Bug's Life. It's a movie about an ant who has ideas. He's a very forward-thinking ant, and he is really excited about something, and he just does his thing no matter what. No matter what anybody thinks, he goes ahead and he just does what he thinks is best. And it's usually a very good idea. It's just not well received by other people who are very traditional, or other ants who are very traditional. And he goes out to find other bugs to to save his ant colony, because his ant colony, every year they have to collect food for these grasshoppers who then fly in and talk, and they like intimidate the ants and get their food and then leave. Well, at the beginning of the movie, because of this one ant, his name is Flick. Because of this one ant, the grasshoppers do not have any food, and so Flick has to go out, and he's excited because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find the some bigger bugs to go help us." And everybody in the colony is like, or all the like people in the colony are like, "Oh yeah, well that's never gonna work," but they decide to let him go because they think he will never find what he's looking for, and so he won't come back, and so he'll be out of their hair. However, it's great. You should really sit down and watch it. But it's just a good reminder that no matter what your idea is or who you think you are significant. I mean, every one of these bugs uh, has a part to play in this grand plan of Flick's. And he just comes up with these ideas on the spot, and he thinks they won't work, and then sometimes they do work, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes it just it just flops and falls apart. But he does it anyway. So if you have an idea, if you have something, if you feel insignificant, remember the movie Bug's Life. Don't feel insignificant. So there's my Pixar movie for the day. Andrew says, I prefer DreamWorks version of A Bug's Life called Ants with a Z. No, Andrew. That is not a good movie. Well, at least I didn't think so when I was like 5 or 6 or however old I was when I watched it. In weather. Today in weather. It's a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. It was about 65, 70 degrees today. A beautiful day. Sat outside and ate my lunch and read a book today, which was enjoyable. I also am aware and hoping it's not going to happen, but I'm aware that over the next week or so, the weather here in Lincoln is going to drop, and there will be less weather. There will be well, just cold, and I'm not looking forward to it. But what are you gonna do, right? Just sit here and weather it, I guess. Ha! Which leads me to the next segment of today's podcast, Dad Jokes. Man, oh man. Somebody was asking me the other day what my favorite flag was, like of all the country's flags. Somebody was asking me which one's my favorite, and I was like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know, but Switzerland, that's a big plus. If you don't know, the Swiss flag it's a big plus. Yeah, there we go. So there you go. But honestly, yes, my favorite flag, Mom, is Jamaica because I am Jamaican. Hey, where do astronauts hang out? At the space bar. Get it? Is this on your computer? Yeah. Hey, what concert costs only 45 cents? 50 Cent featuring Nickelback. Oh man. Why do melons have weddings? Because they can't elope. There you go. Oh man. It's okay. If you don't like it, it's fine. You don't have to like dad jokes. They just have to exist and you just have to listen. That's okay. What's the difference between a poorly dressed man on a tricycle and a well dressed man on a bicycle? Attire. Oh, my mom says, what fruit do parents give to their children? I'm going to guess cantaloupes because they'd like to see their weddings. Um, we'll see. I don't know what her response will be. Mom? All right. What am I? Okay. Just looking at some of these jokes. They didn't make sense. But yes, the answer is cantaloupe. Awesome. Yes, so that they cannot elope. Yep, that's right, Mom. All right. Today's riddle of the day comes to us from riddles.com. So don't look it up. All right. Here's a riddle for you. I will share the answer on tomorrow's live stream. When is music like vegetables? When is music like vegetables? Come back tomorrow to find out. With that being said, let's just kind of talk about some things that are coming up this weekend. As it is Wednesday, there are several services, midweek services that will be going on, as well as this week is the Passover week in Jewish tradition and the Easter week in Christian tradition, also known as Resurrection Week. Good Friday is coming up. There's a lot coming up. And so I encourage you to tune in to your local church. They might be having a service or something online that you can engage in. There are a couple here in Lincoln that are going on. College View Church is having something starting every night, starting tomorrow night. And you can find that on their Facebook page and I believe on live stream as well. So you can check that out. Sight and Sound, which is a production. It is a theater production in Pennsylvania and Kentucky, I believe. Every day, I think, for the past however long, they've been putting on theater productions. Of course, the theater is closed now because of COVID-19. But Sight and Sound is offering a free viewing of their story of Jesus on their app. So if you download the Sight and Sound app, or it might be the TBN app, or if you have Roku TV or something like that, you can tune in to their streaming service and you can watch the movie this weekend for free. And as I've heard from a lot of people, Sight and Sound is an extremely well put together production and is very much worth watching. So if you can, go ahead and do that. I just might do that this weekend. Take some time to reflect on the life of Jesus this week. He gave it all for you. And this is the weekend that we pay attention the most to that. So just remember to take a second, take a breath, and remember. All right, that concludes our stream for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching in the future, hopefully today in quarantine. Thanks, and have a great day.